Hello, welcome to Mountain Craft Studio. My name's Christine, and this is Ethel, my co-host. As you can see, today we're filming at our cabin. I thought I would give a quick update on what I've been working on. Is it okay? Is it okay if I show some things? Let's check it out. So I finished this week, fully finished. This is a sewing pocket by Stacy Nash. She always has the cutest projects. I love this. Obviously it's done on murky with all the called for colors. It was a very quick, easy stitch. This is one of the things that will be left here at the cabin. Do you really have to sit right there? There's like all kinds of room. You always have to be a drama queen, don't you? Okay. Maybe you should say hello to Hamilton. Say, hi, Hamilton. No? Okay. So Ethel is part of Lucy, and Lucy was a beagle, and unfortunately we lost Lucy a few years ago. And Ethel still believes she's a cat because she was raised by Lucy, the dog. So it's been a little adventure. We also have a cat named Maud, and which they don't get along because obviously she's a dog, not a cat. Right? Yes. You're just a very clean cat. Or I mean clean dog. Didn't mean to offend you. So while I've been working here at the cabin, I did finish stitching this piece. This is actually a piece from Blackbird Designs. This will go on one of the boxes, jewelry boxes for my granddaughter. This is for the older one, so it'll look similar to that. It was on the, I did use 32 count parchment. I think it called for 35 or some odd number, and I just didn't have it. So, and I wanted it to be a little bit larger so that it would fit the jewelry box that I bought from Hobby Lobby a little bit better. And this should turn out to be perfect. So I will put this on the top of the box and then finish off the interior like I did the last one, which if you haven't seen that one, you can go onto my Instagram page and scroll back and you'll see it there. This is kept in my laundry basket quilts bag, and I'll be ready for the next project. There's another project in that book that I look forward to making, so I think I already have that kitted up, ready to go. I've also been working on my Thanksgiving start was a freebie from Just Stitching Along. Let's see if I can get it out of the bag. You're such a big help, Ethel. Thank you. It makes this very convenient. Okay, so this is just a black and white copy, but it kind of gives you the idea. Anyway, this is a freebie. If you go out and look, just search for Miss Mary Yerger, Yerger, 1859. I'm sure it'll pop right up. That it's, again, by just stitching along. I'm using 32 count vintage mocha. And I didn't use the exact DMC colors that she called for, but I came up with some from my stash that were very similar in color. So as you can see, it's going to look very Thanksgiving-like colors. And at the bottom, it says, be thankful always. So I thought that would be great. I really don't have enough or any Thanksgiving decoration, so I decided it was time. And we usually do spend Thanksgiving here at the cabin, either or the week before or the week after. So I really wanted something that would be rustic enough to fit in with the decor here. I think I will. I have a frame at home that I think might fit. So before I put the Be Thankful Always on, I think I'm going to go home and measure that and see just how big that needs to be in order to be able to use that frame. I might be way off. It may be too narrow as well, but we'll see. It would look great in that. It's kind of an old wooden, kind of very rustic looking frame. So we'll see. It'd be nice if it would fit in there. It'd also be a miracle, so it's unlikely to happen. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have been working on since, stitchy-wise, since I've gotten here. Otherwise, I did take a video tour. If you haven't seen that yet, you can go back to the list of videos on my channel and you'll find that there. Just gives you a little overview of what the cabin looks like. We have been here for, I think this will be 5 years coming up in December. We absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. I've always dreamed of having an old log cabin. And this is where I come to breathe easier. Just driving up onto the property, I can feel my blood pressure lower. It's fantastic. And it's silent. Right now I can't hear anything other than my own voice and Ethel purring. And that is a wonderful thing. We've had in the past some very interesting neighbors who have interesting hobbies, like leaf blowing 365 days a year. Things like that has made being a good neighbor somewhat difficult. So when we found this place, I loved it and I was moving in no matter what. And we just happened to be blessed with some of the best neighbors you'll ever imagine. They're the nicest people in the world, and everyone's considerate of everyone else, and it's fantastic. We actually had hoped, before the pandemic started, we had hoped to build on a master bedroom and move here full time. But once the pandemic hit and the costs started going insane and we can't find anybody to actually do the work, and so we ended up giving up on that idea. We still plan to come in the winters. This is very far south compared. It's 8 hours south of our other home. So it's nice and warm. It was actually 72 degrees yesterday in December. That's just crazy. So anyway, we decided, once the pandemic hit and things went crazy, we decided not to do that, and we went to plan B, and we bought the farmhouse where we are now. That needs a total restoration from top to bottom because we're crazy. We've done that before. We were younger then. It was easier then, but we'll figure it out. So the studio that I normally film from is actually an old tool shed on that property. And so the studio, the front half of the studio is finished. So I at least can go into that space and pretend like everything's done and I don't have to worry about all the other things and the dust and the, all the other things that need to be done. I can just pretend, go into my little world and pretend like everything's all good. Anyway, all of that to say, there was in the last video of that tour, I could not get a good shot of this antique sampler. And I'll see if I can get it better today. Oh, there you go. That's a little bit better. At least you only have one little dot. So this is Louisa Fisher. Louisa Fisher, aged 8. I don't have a date or a location, unfortunately. I found this in a thrift mall / antique mall in northern Alabama several years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. It is very pretty. She has a lot of unique stitches. The linen is very, very coarse and very uneven. It's interesting to look at. And then she did highlight some letters, L obviously for Louisa, but then she also had T, U, and V highlighted. And I'm not with a different stitch, so I'm not sure if that would be siblings or parents or whomever. Someone special to her, I think, probably had some of those initials. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to figure it out. What amazed me when I found it is the colors. The colors are almost identical to a very small piece that I did back in the early 90s, which I still have. I'll have to dig it out at some point and see, but the colors are very, very close. Actually, now that I sit here and look at this, looks like she highlighted the F as well. Oh, that makes sense. Fisher. Duh. Anyway, it's one of my favorite little pieces. I am always drawn to these simple samplers, the ones, I guess probably because it reminds me of mine. Mine was just an alphabet. I didn't have all the fancy motifs and all that kind of stuff. And it just looks like someone that maybe wasn't as affluent as some of the others would have stitched. It looks like somebody was doing this purposefully because they needed to know this in order to do their job or something like that. That's what it reminds me of. And I love it. One of the other things I was going to show, since it's the holiday season, is a few ornaments. I have a little tiny tree that I keep up during the holiday season, and I have some all homemade ornaments plus some vintage pieces. And this is, I don't even know how old this is, but I do believe that's a Prairie Schooler Santa. I've stitched who knows how many ornaments over the years. I think this is the only one I have left. I don't know why. I gave lots of things when my 2 kids have moved out, and I boxed up one box for my daughter and one for my son, and with the ornaments and things that people had given them when they were kids. Like I had some Disney things and Hallmark ornaments and things like that. And so I have a feeling I put a lot of those stitchy ornaments from the 90s with like ducks and rabbits. Remember the rabbits with the long ears? Anyway, I'm pretty sure those are in with theirs for them to treasure for the rest of their lives. And then I have made some ornaments more recently. These are, you can still, well, I think you can still buy this pattern. It was at Indigo Junction. These are wool felt with just really simple embroidery on them. I love these. I would make, this is absolutely my style. Just super simple, folk art looking. Isn't that cute? I love this one. And then this one, this little pear shape. I just love them. Love them. Here's another one. I have to leave this one out. I need to fix it. It lost its part of its string. So pretty. So simple, but so beautiful. I would love to do a lot of these. If anybody has a great idea on patterns or anything like that out there, can you mention it in the bottom? I've looked and I've found some, but I'm not finding anything that really is exactly what I'm looking for. I know in my mind what I want, and I think that might be Scandinavian. My heritage, the majority of my heritage is Scandinavian, and so I would love to be able to just make some really interesting Scandinavian folk ornaments, if I could. And then another thing that I'm looking for, if anybody can tell me where this came from. This, I remember being on the tree even when I was a kid. So it's just a bell. See how pretty that is? It just has some very simple stitches on it, and it even has that little, whatever that's called. I know the name, I just can't think of it. Huh. Yeah, the little doohickey at the bottom. It's darling. I love it. If you know of a pattern for this or something similar, can you mention that below? That's another thing I would like to find. I would love to make some more of these. These could be really cute. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is one of my collectibles, my sewing collectibles. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make that a feature on each Flosstube. I'll show one of my favorite sewing type collectibles. There's a lot of things. This one is probably the largest. Well, no. Yeah, maybe it's the tallest. Definitely the tallest, now that I think about it. So this is, let's see if I can, Ethel, you're gonna have to move. I'm sorry. But we're gonna have, I know. I can't do it with you in my lap. Let's see if we can, sorry about that. Here we go. We'll try. So this is a So Tidy table. This, I don't think, this one may have been So Tidy, but this, eventually they were manufactured. I think this one, the way it looks, it was actually a homemade item. It's just on a stand, a folding screen kind of thing here, right? It has nails, literally just nails in the particular, what do you call that when it goes across? It's not a row. Whatever. Where the nails go. It has one on each side so that you can put all kinds of spools. There's a pin cushion here. It's actually nice and fat, if you can see that, and stuffed. Right below that is a small pocket, which I'm assuming must have been for maybe some needle books or something like that. If you can see the pocket. You're such a big help, Ethel. This is just working out great. And it has some cup hooks down here for hanging scissors and whatnot. And then a nice big bag-ish kind of thing at the bottom. Pouch. Yeah, like a kangaroo pouch that you could put your project or whatever in. Or hoops. That sort of thing. These are some of my vintage hoops that I actually do use sometimes. But I love this piece. I love this particular fabric. This looks Depression era to me. Maybe even slightly earlier. The back fabric really makes me think that it's from the early 1900s anyway. I love it. It just has little nail head trim that's holding it on. So I like this so much, in fact, that I've had my husband does some woodworking as a hobby, and I had him make another frame just like this, and I'm going to create another one that I can actually, this one is really delicate and I'm afraid of destroying it. So I thought it would be neat if I could just make one for myself that I'd actually use all the time, because it is super handy. Most of the so tidy tables that I've seen end up with, it goes like this, and then they have handles that go right here. And then you could just walk it around, put it anywhere, stick it in the closet, and then bring it back out whenever you're gonna work on something. But for me, it's perfect for, you could put your silks, your silk spools on there, or whatever. I just think it's ideal for doing needlework when you're in a chair and you don't have a giant table to have all your stuff. I think it'd be really handy. It'd just be especially nice to take outside. I sometimes sit and stitch on the porch, so it would be wonderful for that. So that's it. That's it for the day. That's my collectible of the day. It's pretty. I've never seen another one exactly like it. I've seen a lot of them in that style, most of which are, I think, newer. But if you have one, or if you've seen one, or if you have any stories about them, leave it in the link below. Thanks. And finally, let's not forget that we're still looking for the world's oldest whip. So far, we have one person that has been able to identify that their whip is older than mine. Right now, she's going to win. I believe hers was done in the early 70s. So it might have even been I think it was 1970. So if you have a work in progress that's older than 1970, or just tell us what your oldest work in progress is. And then head on over to Instagram if you can and post a picture of it and let everybody know how old your project is. Make sure that put the hashtags World Oldest Whip Challenge in that so everybody can see it. This is just something fun. If you do win, if you have the very oldest whip, and I haven't come up with the deadline yet, probably, I think spring, we'll get everybody through the holidays, and when they can start digging through their attics, they have to put their holiday decorations away anyway, but they can start digging through their attics and pulling out these old whips. So I think in the spring, if you have the world's oldest whip, I will custom design a project bag for you to put your world's oldest whip inside. I think that is very fitting for something that obviously has been sitting around for quite some time. Quite some time. Older than me. That's saying something. Oh. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate everybody who stops by. So does Ethel. We'll see you next time.